I'm not affiliated with politics. This is not a political statement. This is a fact, and this is a reality. And what we need actually for the region is more models of Israel. Actually, we would like for surrounding countries to learn from Israel. I believe it's not I believe, actually I know. It's the light of the region. Because democracy, dialogue, human rights, women's rights, animal rights, and so many other ethics and values of the Israeli constitution makes the country advanced and livable, and people from every path of life can coexist with each other. There are Arabs in Israel. You know, they're citizens of the state of Israel. They have rights. They have members in the Knesset. Even though they don't serve in the army, even though they don't do all the duties that other citizens do in the country, they still have rights like any other citizen in the country. And this is remarkable. Where are the Jews of the Arab countries? You know? Well, there are mosques, and actually Israel, within its own capital, Jerusalem, does not interfere with the Muslim sites. They're run by Muslim regimes. Like the Jordanians are responsible for the Islamic sites and mosques, and Israel does not interfere and give them absolute freedom to worship, even though they take advantage and they do violence. But in the meantime, let's see how many synagogues, you know, in the Arab world. Where are the synagogues in Jordan, in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf countries? So practically, there is nothing. There are no Jews. You know, and the world talks about the Palestinian refugees. And we ask question, you know, how about the Jewish refugees, you know, who left everything, their property, their gold, their money, and they lost everything. And they were replaced or relocated somewhere else. What about those people? Aren't they people? So there is definitely a double standard in the way we are discussing the reality of the Middle East.
Absolutely. But how did you come to this mindset? Because that is an extraordinary transformation. You know, you were and still are the son of one of the founding members of Hamas. You know Hamas inside out. You know the Palestinian leadership. You know how that you were your mind was poisoned to believe such a narrative. And now you have a completely different perspective. What was the trigger that actually transformed your mindset and saw the truth as you see it?
It's by observation, you know. This is what science is all about. You know, we observe and we make sense of what we see. And there are facts. You cannot deny them. You know, of course, people in their political delusion, they can deny things, you know, and they can accuse Israel, and they can praise the predator, you know. The people can say whatever they want to say. I am responsible for my words, and I speak with the authority of my experience and first-hand observation of the reality, knowing Hamas leadership, knowing Palestinian Authority leadership, and knowing that they are the enemies of the Palestinian people. Israel cares for the Palestinian people more than their own leadership cares. You know, actually, Palestinian leaderships want Palestinian people to die. And that's a reality. It has been like this for so many years. There is no need for them if people don't die. And every now and then they start a war. So for me, you ask me what triggered that? It's an evolution. You know, it's like we grew up witnessing the first Palestinian Intifada. And during the first Palestinian Intifada, you know, I was next to a cemetery, and we witnessed death on a daily basis. And as children, we thought Israel was responsible for that. Not knowing the truth that Palestinian leaderships sent children, instead of going to schools, they forced them to go and confront with the IDF. They sent suicide bombers, and they sent all type of individuals to commit terrorist attacks, killing civilians. Started by stabbing with a knife, with a gun, and eventually it became suicide bombing attacks with the name of nationalism. That by doing this, we're going to emancipate ourselves from what's so-called occupation. Now the question is, does any Palestinian leader really want the Palestinian conflict to end? If the conflict ends, they don't profit anymore. There is no need for them anymore. This is why they ask for impossible things, that they actually, there's no solution for their political ambition. There is no satisfaction. Nobody can satisfy them. And they know this truth. But by sending people to die, the world has to pay them off, you know? And this is the fuel for their endless cycle of violence. So now, observing such a reality and seeing, by the way, the vacuum and the gap between their lifestyle and the children of Gaza and the people of Gaza. On one hand, you know, they're full of corruption. They spend the public money that they collect by the name of the victims. They spend it, and the world knows how they spend it.
Yes, it's something like 65% of the residents of Gaza are living under the poverty line because of the totalitarian regime of Hamas in Gaza.
Right, you know, it's like all the funds that come to Hamas in Gaza, they're invested in building tunnels, you know, and building a military wing, rather than bringing milk to the children of Gaza. Right now, you see, it's like the reality. This is how I observe it. I don't know how intelligence services see it. I don't know how the donors in the European Union see it. And I don't care how they see it. For me, I see Mahmoud Abbas cutting electricity from the Gaza Strip, cutting milk, medicine. And now the situation in Gaza Strip at the edge of another conflict. What I see, Mahmoud Abbas wants Hamas to attack Israel. So Israel will attack Hamas. As outcome, children will die. So this is the Palestinian leadership mentality. When they don't have money, when the United States cut funds or reduce the funds from Mahmoud Abbas, he would say, sacrifice a few hundred children in Gaza Strip so the world can outrage against Israel. You know, they will blame Hamas. Well, Hamas is a terrorist organization. You know, it's a terrorist organization on every country's list except Switzerland. Thank God, I don't know why. They will blame Hamas and they will blame Israel, and Mahmoud Abbas will raise billions of dollars out of this suffering. How he is going to spend it, I don't know. Gaza does not have electricity, does not have medicine. People are dying. Children are dying in hospitals because they don't have electricity in the hospital. They don't have medication. So the average person, you know, who don't know all dimensions of this conflict will look at Gazan children dying, and it's going to be just the exchange of a blame. You know, they just want anybody to blame. Israel is going to be the party to blame. Even though Israel will open its hospitals, even though Israel will ask civilians to evacuate, to get out from certain areas so they can come and deal with the tunnel problems, and Hamas will force civilians to stay. And in their ignorance, they will stay. Then there will be civilian casualties. Instead of blaming Israel, you need to blame the party that used civilians as human shields. So this will bring us again and again, like how many dimensions to this conflict and how it's played by infinite forces of existence. That does not even start with Mahmoud Abbas and Hamas. Mahmoud Abbas considered, the moderate Palestinian leader. His partner. He's a criminal. But of course, he knows how to get away with it. He knows how to manipulate the international public. Iran has something to do with it. Saudi Arabia has something to do with it. Qatar has something to do with it. And we need to see, that money is the main cause for this conflict. And for the international community, instead of investing in the Palestinian Authority, in the predator, they invest in the enemy of the people. They should invest in the people directly. Absolutely. By building economy, by building infrastructure, by educating them, by giving them some hope and some relief. I don't think a sanction against civilians in Gaza Strip will force Hamas to actually reconcile.